Let's talk about Michael Allen.
Yeah.
Let me just explain. I'm a Michael Jackson fan from the beginning. Grew up in Detroit, and the Jackson 5 were my favorite. I had little 45s. I played Michael Jackson's music with the Jackson 5, big Jackson 5 fan. I watched the cartoon on Saturday morning. I wanted to be Michael Jackson. I bought his albums and 45s. I was in the Jackson 5 fan club. When Michael went on his solo career, I wasn't as big a fan. I was more of a fan of, the Jackson 5, but you cannot deny not just what a force of nature he was and a positive light to the world with his solo career and what he wanted to do. Who has topped him? The only person you compare Michael to is Elvis in terms of impact. And I want to address a couple things. One, this is not your typical biopic, right? It's one half the story. The most biopics, it's warts and all. They give you the rise and the fall. What we've seen is the first half of the story, the rise. And the biggest thing I could critique of the film might be that it glossed over. I wish they had included the cartoon in it. I wish they had included more of Michael's brothers and sisters. But Jafar Jackson's performance, he embodied Michael. It is a montage of like music video performances that is unlike. He is channeling the spirit of his uncle, Michael. Jafar is the nephew of Michael Jackson. My God, and the performances that were recreated, the behind the scenes of Thriller, and it's really the main conflict of the movie. You could say is kind of thin, but it's really the conflict between Michael's father, Joe Jackson, played by
Coleman Domingo.
And he is the abusive father, gets out the belt. All of this of course is documented and probably played down in the movie. Actually, he's even worse than portrayed. And he was his manager and father who was very strict. And it's about also his that conflict, father-son conflict, and then also about his creative awakening and being kind of open to the forces in the universe that would bring him ideas. And it really got you in the head of Michael. And I know the critics have been savage on this. I think they were hoping it would be more of a warts and all.
End. Yeah.
The bad aspects of Michael. I had an amazing time. This movie is for the fans. It brought me back to that being a kid and listening to Michael Jackson 45s until the grooves were worn out. There were scratches all over the album. And it brought me back to when so many people were united around music. Today, music is so divided. There's so many genres of music. They come up with a new one every day.
Yeah, your point is everyone listened to Michael Jackson.
Everyone, age, gender, race, didn't matter. And it brought me back to this era of I remember that. We
used to like each other.
We hung out. Why are we all here? Different people, age. We all love this music and hearing it from Michael. He literally spiritually channeled from the universe songs that brought the world together. Now there are things that were absent. I really feel they diminished the role of his brothers, Tito, Jackie, Jermaine, and his sister.
You know what role they really diminished was Janet Jackson.
Yes, of course.
What did you think of her performance?
She's not really in it.
She's not in the movie. There's no acknowledgement. It's as if Thanos had snapped away Janet Jackson.
No, look. In the interest of making a 2-hour movie, they focused on Michael as the character. Michael, This is about Michael's story. I mean, this could have been a 3-hour movie. It's even half the story. We're going to get 2 hours of the fall. I think there are suspicious things afoot, and there were forces trying to take Michael down. I really like looking back, knowing what we know about so many stories in the news that we're told are true, that are not true. All I'm doing is asking questions. So I question things. This movie is a crowd pleaser. The audience in my theater was going nuts. Multiple moments where there were like applause breaks of people just, either going, like that kind of anticipation and excitement. And after a while, you forget this is not Michael. They're just moments, especially when he had these post-it notes. All he would do was write down like phrases, or words, or he had this board just like, trying to channel ideas. He worked on like a riff or, lyrics. Like it really got you into his head creatively. It was great that they focused on that. The movie could have got muddled if it did go off in those other directions. I'll end on this. Antoine Fuqua did an amazing job on it. This movie is a celebration of Michael. It is for the fans. It is the critics, I think, are dead wrong on this. I'm not just saying that as a fan of Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, but just I feel they're dead wrong. They wanted they were reviewing a movie that they didn't get, which was the fall of Michael. How much behind the scenes he was a different person. And I just think this movie really delivered, and I really want to go see it again. Alan, what do you think of Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it, but for very different reasons than you did.
Oh,
to me, the reason to see this movie is Michael has the best soundtrack of any movie I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
You talk about at the end of my screening, for one thing, I saw it at my local theater, which no one goes to. It was full. I think all the black people in Yorba Linda had showed up, which was about 12. And look, when the credits started rolling, people were still dancing in the aisles. Look, it is undeniable that Michael Jackson's music is the pinnacle of music. The thing I kept thinking about throughout the entire film is, why does today's music suck so much? Because I'm listening to this. Look, I made my daughter listen to Beat It yesterday. Just that driving guitar rhythm of that song is like, man, I miss music like that. Something that had intensity and passion, as opposed to this EDM pop dance music. We were talking about just why K-pop music is so bad, and I can get into that later. But 40% of this movie is music, and Jafar Jackson, even though he doesn't sing, he lip syncs through it. He's got the moves down. He looked like Michael on set there, on stage. But where I disagree with you is, this is a typical biopic where it's this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and then, we can't forget this event. We've got to put this event in. But I would say that it is done better than most that I've seen. I would say 75% of biopics are shot like this, and this is right up there. I think Antoine Fuqua did a good job. But it's fairly standard when it comes to being a biopic. The other thing was Coleman Domingo, great. I mean, man, that guy's frightening in this movie.
He is.
And to your point, this movie is nothing but the good stuff, and I'm glad. I did not want this movie to end on a downer. And quite frankly, if they decide to make the second half of Michael's life, I don't know that I would really want to watch that movie. Look, I like the fact that Michael is presented as he was, as the king of pop, and the true king that he was. He revolutionized music. In fact, he revolutionized MTV with this weird performance by Mike Myers. That was, I was like, is that Mike Myers? I could swear that guy's Mike Myers.
Yeah.
So look, and to your point, It just reminded me of a time when, yeah, we were just coming off of the 60s and 70s of the civil rights movement, but we were on this path to where we as a society, as humanity, were actually getting along with each other and could coalesce around certain things. And Michael Jackson was one of those things. As sappy as that sounds, he did bring people together. They shot the audiences in these stadiums, and they were diverse, as it should have been, as it was. And the question ultimately is, where did we go wrong? Why have we set ourselves back from Michael Jackson, from that time in the 80s and 90s? So.
Well, strong recommend. Plan to see it again. This movie's for the fans, and the critics are dead wrong on this.
Yeah. And Bubbles was creepy as hell as well. Oh my God. Bubbles. I think they got a baby, and then they just kind of drew over the baby and made Bubbles.
It's okay. I think the main thing is Jafar Jackson's performance. He was channeling Michael Jackson and did a phenomenal job. Yeah. So, and this will not get the praise it deserves for awards, but I think the box office will be huge.
Yeah. It's a reason I hate litigating basically court trials on the internet. And we didn't have the internet at that time, but it was, this is what we did. Rather than look at the facts, we just take the stories and frame a story the way we wanted to, and that's how you take down a king.